حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب ترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الفاتحة تسبق الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Ahsan. Thank you, Brother Amr. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, you all are well. Thank you all for being here on time. As you all know, we're here to celebrate the Eid of Mubahila. And thank you, Brother Amr, for reciting Quran. After, we definitely would love to have you back here reciting for us. Inshallah, we'll have poetry for this occasion as well. So, Brother Hassan Akhtar, if you would like to, inshallah. Please welcome Brother Hassan Akhtar with the Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
No, it's okay. I'm glad you're here. So that two people can understand what I'm going to say, mashallah. Sheikh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Brother, of course. But your Urdu speech was good yesterday, after the namaz. Mashallah. Yeah, that's a long speech. Yeah, but Muhammad Ali Muhammad Salwat. Yeah, Mubahila. किस शान से नबी मुबाहिले को जा रहे हैं. Yeah, right, okay. किस शान से नबी मुबाहिले को जा रहे हैं, हसनैन व फातिमा व अली साथ आ रहे हैं. सलवात अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मदिन व आलि मुहम्मद. ढूंढा सच्चा न कोई पाया, सिर्फ पंजतन को पाया, उन्हीं को ला रहे हैं. अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद. सच्चों का मुबाहिला झूठों से तय हुआ है. तत्हीर की सरदार फातिमा हैं आलम की औरतों की, जन्नत के शहजादे हसनैन जा रहे हैं. सलवात अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद. अमीर मोमिनों के बेशक अली वसी हैं, आला है उनका रुतबा, नबी बता रहे हैं. He's the only man qualified to go with the Prophet. The whole Medina, whole Arabia, mashallah. नुसरानियों के ऊपर हैबत सी है तारी, सच्चों की बद्दुआ से वो खौफ खा रहे हैं. है फतह पंजतन की और तौहीद की फतह है, जिन ओ मलक फतह के नारे लगा रहे हैं. अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मदिन व आलि मुहम्मद. खुशियों का फसाना है, खुशियों का ज़माना है, खुशियों का फसाना है, खुशियों का ज़माना है. सल्ले अला के नारे हम भी लगा रहे हैं. अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ले अला मुहम्मदिन व आलि मुहम्मद. साबिक़ का ये तोहफ़ा है, ये जश्न का मौका है. इस नूर की महफ़िल को हम सब सजा रहे हैं. सल्लल्लाहु अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मदिन व आलि मुहम्मद. Yeah, we don't see the Noor or even the Farishtas, but they are here, they are present, inshallah. Salawat.
I'll do English real short, and then thank you, Brother Hassan, for that beautiful Urdu poetry. Inshallah, Inshallah, I'll resort something short in English. It's not on the occasion of Mubahila, but it is just in praise of the Ahlul Bayt. Everything has a beginning and everything has an end. Muhammad is my beginning and the Mahdi is my end. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Between them is my existence, and it begins with the dawn. It ends when the sun departs, and blessings upon them I send. It did not start in a desert, rather he began. His creation stole the gaze of Adam's eyes. From this began our beginning, the beauty of Adam's sight, and for his end, at his own end, for Mahdi's return he cries. He lived a road that began then with a sight that sparked his birth. Only when he'd welcomed them all was he content with demise. And 12 had followed Muhammad, and on such a road he walked. He found it paved with divine gold, in each one a lesson lies. With Muhammad something was born, beautiful until its end. He shaped the world for the better, setting the stage for them all. When it unveiled its curtains, I saw Ali after him. He rise whenever I fall. Then I remembered Muhammad when I saw Hassan's patience. His name lit up this theater before his brother they'd call. I saw Hussein make his entrance, and it lasted till time's end. He taught me if you seek justice, then you can live as an immortal. Some distance make this beginning, I saw the prayer of Sajjad, he who often recalled his end in speech with his creator. And it was Baqir who taught me of beginning and end. He built a university upon it as a teacher. He then passed his crown to Sadiq, a teacher's chair was his throne. He taught thinkers of modern earth as humanity's scholar. A crowned Kadhim was imprisoned, he dipped it into patience. In prison he still captured hearts, guiding lover after lover. Radha, they called him a stranger, but also called him a king, he who taught me to conquer hearts with nothing but a smile. Referring back to beginnings, Jawad, he was but a youthful face on this road's end, taught me to grow up youthful. Hadi and Askari prepared for the beginning's end. In the final act of this play, they guided the ungrateful. No one wanted this play to end, so Mahdi prolonged his end. On those who know his beginning, he remains ever watchful. It's here that Adam still watches, fearful of turning away. The beginning must remain to watch the end. Enticed by the road that he walks, in love the seconds prolong. The minutes attempt to stand still, simply to enjoy the trend. It is a love that not all know, not all remain till the end, and unless you complete this road, this house you won't comprehend. Muhammad was my beginning, it's something I will not forget, and left enticed by such a play, I am still awaiting my end. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajma'in. Whoever gave me candy, thank you very much on this joyous occasion. Thank you for picking it up, Muslim uncle. And inshallah, next we'll invite Brother Amr. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Inshallah, I would like to congratulate all of you on these two special occasions, the day of Mubahila and the day of Ghadir. Inshallah, Allah grant us with and keep us in the right path of Wilayat Amir al-Mu'minin Ajjal alayhi salam. So I don't know if you can clap or you don't need to clap. مولى علي مولى علي مولى علي مولى علي أنا حبي وحياتي علي أنا حبي علي وغرامي مولى علي مولى علي مولى علي أنا حبي علي وغرامي أنا حبي علي وغرامي علي مولى علي مولى علي مولى علي أنا لا أبوح بسره وأنا المقاد لأمره أنا لا أبوح بسره وأنا المقاد لأمره أجد النوال ببحره أجد النوال ببحره أنا روحي علي وحبيبي أنا روحي علي ودليلي علي مولى علي مولى علي مولى علي أنا حبي علي وغرامي أنا حبي علي وغرامي علي مولى علي مولى علي On the love of your light, when I was raised, I was born in your name I heard praise. On the love of your light, when I was praised, I was born in your name I heard praise. In Ghadir my heart for you was saved. In Ghadir my heart for you was saved. From my father Ali and my mother, from my father Ali and my mother. مولا علي مولا علي مولا علي أنا حبي علي وغرامي أنا حبي علي وغرامي مولا علي مولا علي مولاي وروحي ومهجتي لك كيف أصف لوعتي مولاي وروحي ومهجتي لك كيف أوصف لوعتي أفهل رضيت بحسرتي أفهل رضيت بحسرتي حسراتي علي عبراتي حسراتي علي عبراتي مولا علي مولا علي مولا علي أنا حبي علي وغرامي أنا حبي علي وغرامي مولا علي مولا علي مولا علي When I see your shrine, I know that I'm home. You're the King of Kings. Najaf's your throne. When I see your shrine, I know you're that home. You're the King of the Kings. Najaf's your throne. When you be my side, I'm never alone. With you be my side, I'm never alone. With you be my side, I'm never alone. Walking Quran and my adhan, walking Quran Ali and my adhan. Mawla Ali, Mawla Ali, Mawla Ali. أنا حبي علي وغرامي مولا علي مولا علي مولا علي مولا علي صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
Ahsant. Thank you, Brother Amir, for a beautiful recitation. Inshallah, without further ado, if we can invite Sheikh Jafar to the member in celebration of this occasion of Eid Mubahila. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Again, for the well-being of the community, another salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Again, for the hastened reappearance of Imam Zaman, another salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم به نستعين. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكري وسببا للمزيد من فضلي ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، أرواحنا له فداء. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، فقل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم ونساءنا ونساءكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم ثم نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات. First and foremost, I give my congratulations to you on this auspicious occasion which we are coming to celebrate, the Eid al-Mubahila, also the Eid al-Ghadir. Actually, these two occasions, they go hand in hand as they both are foundations or proof of the imamat and the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi afdalus salatu wassalam. And as some have stated this week, because again the Eid al-Ghadir and Eid al-Mubahila are not that far apart, they're very close together. As some have said, the week of Walaya, some have also said the actual month of Walaya. And part of that idea and concept of why this month, even the Hijjah, is the month of Walaya, from the beginning of this blessed month when the Hijjah comes in. Again, that bait of Walaya, the house of Walaya, that we are taught to go and make Hajj, and we circumambulate that house, which is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only house that Amir al-Mu'mineen, that one person was born in, that was Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. So in a sense as well, it is the Baytul Waladat Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's the house of the birth of Amir al-Mu'mineen as well. And then we have the two other great Eids, Eid al-Hijjah, the Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Ghadir, and Eid al-Mubahila, that they all come together in this auspicious month. And as I stated, the two Eids, Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Ghadir, and Eid al-Mubahila, also as they are combined and we're celebrating them together. At times we celebrate them apart. Of course, our dear beloved brother Muhammad Ali Dawood Ali, that he passed away during the Eid al-Ghadir time. That subhanallah, that in that moment, which is the celebration of Amir al-Mu'mineen, our master, his master, that he returns back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be there with his Mawla, inshallah. So inshallah, let's recite a Surah Fatiha for his soul. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Also, as I stated last night, and it's very briefly, and for those who were here last night, also for the celebration, for the poetry and praise of the Ahlul Bayt, and especially Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salatu wassalam, that there's also a special occasion that we bring these two occasions and we're celebrating them at the same time. Because within the Rawayat as well, there's a hadith. It almost indicates on these two occasions occurring at one time. And how is that? So the Eid al-Ghadir is about establishing the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi wasallam, the imamat of Imam Ali. And Mubahila is about cursing. It's a dua that curses. And this is in the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our last Eid al-Mubahila, I pointed out the verse in the Bible where you see that's one of the prophets also, when his prophethood was challenged, that even in that case, in that occasion, one of the prophets of Bani Israel as well had this type of Mubahila, whereby his nubuwwat, his wilayat, because that's what the nubuwwat and risalat is the wilayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When that was challenged, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he destroyed those who belied that wilayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to that prophet. And likewise, the wilayat of Rasulullah, also particularly Isa ibn Maryam, that whether he is divine in that sense to the point of uluhiyya, godly, or if he's a prophet. This is what was challenged. The nubuwwat and the prophethood of Rasulullah was challenged, but that wilayat of Rasulullah, as we understand from Mubahila, also extended to his Ahlul Bayt alayhim afsalatu wassalam. So in a sense, it was a challenge to that wilayat, and so this is why the Mubahila came about. In that hadith that also joins both of these occasions is a hadith of Nu'man ibn Harith. So Nu'man ibn Harith, he was there on the day of Ghadir, Eid al-Ghadir. And I mentioned this last night. For those who heard this, then inshallah, this is just a dhikr and a reminder. So Nu'man ibn Harith, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam raised the hand of Amir al-Mu'mineen and said, Man kuntu mawlahu fahada aliyu mawla. Whoever I am his master, then Ali is his master. Nu'man ibn Harith, he, in some sense, he kind of objected. And so he told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that, Ya Rasulullah, he called the Prophet by his name, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that, you told us to believe in Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to leave our idols and to believe in one God and believe in you as the Prophet. We accepted and we did this. He says, then you made all of these ahkam. You brought about these ahkam whereby we have to pray 5 times a day, we fast at least once a year, we pay the zakat, we make hajj, we also go do jihad. You brought about all of these things. He says, and we accept it. Then again, in a tone of objecting to this walayat and authority of Rasulullah, he says, but none of this made you happy. So now, today, you came and you bring this boy, this is what he says. You bring this boy and you raise his hand, and he's talking about Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi wasallam. This is challenging the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, you bring him and you raise his hand. So he asks, he says, is this from you or is it from Allah? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he swore by Allah. He says, Wallah, I swear by Allah who has created this heavens and earth. He says, this is min Allah. It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not from me. And then at this point, instead of making dua that, oh Allah, lighten my heart or my burden, or that maybe there's something that, maybe I don't comprehend. And so allow me to submit to this wilayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and now being extended to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi wasallam. So instead of making that dua, Nu'man ibn Harith, he made this dua, Allahumma in kana hadha huwa al-haqqu min 'indik fa'amtir alayna hijaratan min as-sama' aw i'tina bi'adhabin alim. Subhanallah. He says that, oh Allah, he says, if this is true, this is from you. Again, he's bringing about the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says that if this is true, this is from you, Allah, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's appointed Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, then rain down a rock upon me, rocks upon me. Or bring about a severe punishment for me. So this is like a Mubahila. He's challenging, and he's basically almost saying that, look, I don't believe this. I don't believe that this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and almost as in a sense calling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam a liar. And so he's saying that, and if the Prophet is not lying, then may I be cursed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punish me. He said that that moment, just as in the birds that they came and destroyed the Ashabul Fil, says 2 birds came and they dropped rocks on this individual's head, Nu'man ibn Harith, and right there he was killed. And so this is the occasion of establishing the walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, as well as this event of Mubahila. So going back to that event of Mubahila, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he points out in verse 61 of Surah Ali Imran, an event which, as the believers, as Muslimin, as anyone who says La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, no one denies and no one says that this did not happen. It happened. Those individuals who were called by Rasulullah in that Mubahila, the abna'ana and the nisa'ana wa anfusana. Ahlul Bayt alayhim afsat wasalam. However, when we look at this, again, as followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afsat wasalam, with absolute certainty, we say that, look, this verse and that event, it establishes the imamat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi afsat wasalam. It establishes even the succession of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And just without going to the whole discussion of how that brings about the secession, just a very simple proof, because then there, among the theologians, there's a whole discussion on this, that what is this proof and what have others argued against this proof and what is the counter argument to that, to show that, yes, this shows that it is Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi afsat wasalam who is supposed to lead the ummah after Rasulullah. That simple proof is that, look, if you have someone who is the anfus, someone who is, you could say, even a replica of the best person, the best creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then why wouldn't that person lead? If Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, you said that, oh, well, the Prophet of Allah, he's passing away, and so who else should be in his place but that person who has that same knowledge as Rasulullah, that person who can implement the Quran as Rasulullah implemented the Quran, that person who can lead and guide as Rasulullah guided? Why would you choose someone else who does not have that knowledge, who does not have that ability to lead like Rasulullah? Again, that ability exists without having nubuwah, as we say. And this is something that, when we look at this kind of parallel between Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam and Rasulullah, again, don't think that this is just the Shia who say this. If we look at the tafsir Kashaf of Zamakhshari, again, one of the well-known and great Sunni scholars who has written the tafsir of Quran. In fact, he is actually even considered like one of the, as I say, the references of tafsir, that anyone who does tafsir, most of the times they'll go back to Zamakhshari, say, oh, well, what did Zamakhshari say in this point or this point? Because one of the qualities of Zamakhshari's tafsir is that he's very precise with regards to grammar and the meaning of things. So when he comes and he gives tafsir of verse 61 of Ali Imran, this event of Mubahila, what he states, he says that this ayah shows the superiority of the Ahl Kisa. He uses this word, Ahl Kisa, over all other companions, that there is no companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is equal and comparable to the Ahl Kisa. Now, mention is why he says Ahl Kisa. And this is because we mentioned before that the event of the Kisa, where the Ahlul Bayt, they come under the Kisa, it happened on multiple occasions. One in the house of Fatima Zahra, the Hadith Kisa that we usually recite is there, that An Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari and Fat. So, but the other occasion, it happened on multiple occasions. One of those occasions is during the time of Mubahila. That he's narrating from Aisha. He says that, what did Aisha describe on the day of Mubahila? He says, Rasulullah, he came out and he had his cloak, this Qisa Yamani, and he put it over his head. And came. Then Hussein, he says, at that point, and that order is a little bit different, and he says, then Fatima. So, and then Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And in that narration, on the day of Mubahila, according to Zamakhshari, what he narrates, he says, then once they all gathered under that cloak, قال رسول الله. Then Rasulullah, he stated, he says, إنما يريد الله يذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. So even if we take that hadith from Zamakhshari, that the people of the cloak and the Ahl Bayt of Rasul is what? These 5 people. The Prophet, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Fatima, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, alayhim afsalatu. There's no incident of the wives, or even not even a moment for them to even ask to come under that cloak. And what does the Prophet says? He says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهِ أَن يُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ. So that established that who is the Ahlul Bayt? There should be no doubt that who's the Ahlul Bayt are. Although some try to say, oh, maybe the wives this and that, but if that was the case, then in Mubahila they should have gone as well. But there was no place for them in that Mubahila. So going back to Zamakhshari's commentary on this, he says that the Ahli Kisa, those who went under the cloak to go forth to do the Mubahila, he says, there's no companion who's equal to them. No one. In Fadl. And he gives the reason why. He says, why? He says, because these individuals that they're on this level of al-anfus. This level of anfus. And this, it's not a Shia speaking. He says, because they reached to this level of anfus. And now if we do just a minor critique of that, so he's saying that everyone under the Ahli Kisa is at that level, which, mashallah, we can say that to some extent, yes. Because as Rasulullah, he says, or as we read in the Hadith Kisa, that innahum lahmi wa dami, that they are the blood of Rasulullah, they are the flesh of Rasulullah. But if we look at that verse of Surah Ali Imran about the Mubahila, then it's very clear. Who are the abna? Who are the children? Imam Hassan Hussein alayhi salatu. Who is, again, one woman, but she's equal to an-nisa, the women of Rasulullah, and that's Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayhi. And the only place for Amir al-Mu'mineen, because he's not among the abna, which some try to say that, oh yes, he's among the abna. No, the only place for Amir al-Mu'mineen is from al-anfus. That without doubt he is at that level of nafs Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So that parallel, and this is what I want to kind of focus on a bit, because again, in our last few speeches that we had, particularly on the Eid and beyond that, the other occasions that we had where we are remembering the Ahl Bayt on the Waladats and one of the Shahadas as well, that we focus on this idea and concept of imamat, and one of the foundations of imamat. And this is because this question came up from among our youth about this discussion of imamat, and we pointed to one of the aspects of imamat that is very critical. And we established this from one route, and that is the knowledge of the imam, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he created Adam and he made Adam the Khalifa, that position of wilayat, that he is the Khalifa, is because Allah gave Adam knowledge. وَعَلَّمَ لَآدَمَ أَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Ibrahim the imam, it was again because Ibrahim, he had that knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested him with what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested knowledge with what? So this is one of the foundations of imamat, and of course we mentioned. So this is one of the foundations of imamat, and of course we haven't been taught that by Rasulullah. We're just establishing this knowledge. Why? From a position that people will not have this objection. Just establishing. You're speaking about something that is metaphysical. From a position that take it from that position. People will not have this objection. Rasulullah, he taught. You're speaking about something that is metaphysical. Take it from that position.